Hello, on this week's instalment of Project GTi we're going to be looking at tyres, and we want your input again. The fronts on our Golf are pretty much shot, and the rears, although they're relatively new, they wouldn't be a particularly good brand in terms of performance driving. So what tyres would you recommend for this car? Bearing in mind that we're not going to be doing a huge amount of road driving, but they do need to perform really well on track. That said, we don't want them to wear out after just a couple of laps. To keep costs down, we're going to stick with the same 17-inch rim diameter. We can change the profile a bit as we can do the width. So leave us your suggestions in the comments below. Now you might be wondering why we've got the car up on axle stands, and it's because we're going to rotate the tyres. We've just written an in-depth article about it, and because there are specific rules depending on the drive layout of your car and the type of tyres you have, there should be a link to the article somewhere on screen now. Now there's a couple of reasons why you might want to rotate the tyres on your car. Number one being changing the position of the tyres from one place to the next on the car can even out the tread wear on the tyres themselves, make them last longer and ultimately save you money. Some people have reported as much as 5,000 extra kilometres from one set of tyres just from rotating them. The other reason for rotating your tyres is if you're only replacing them in pairs rather than doing all four at the same time. You're going to have the choice as to whether you want to put the new, grippier, better tyres on the front or the rear of the car. In the past, and we're talking about front-wheel drive cars here, the advice was to put the new tyres on the front, which seems logical because on a front-wheel drive car you have all the power going through the front wheels, as well as up to 70% of the braking force and a greater portion of the cornering force. Now, tyre companies and distributors such as QuickFit are advising that your best or new tyres should be fitted to the rear of the car, which sounds counterintuitive, but the reasoning is sound. The theory is that a car that loses grip at the front end and skids is easier to control than a car that loses grip at the rear end and skids, i.e. understeer is easier to control than oversteer. Now you may have noticed that we're disregarding all that information and we're putting our good tyres on the front of the car, and that's just because we're about to bring this car to a racetrack tomorrow and we want our best tyres on the front. When you're on a racetrack it's slightly different from on the road. You want the front end of the car to be completely planted and you don't want any understeer at all, so that's what we're aiming for here. So we'll leave it there for today, and just a quick safety reminder, if you are jacking the car up to do any work on it, make sure you're using axle stands and make sure you have them in the correct position at the jacking points. And if you are taking the wheels off, be sure to double check your wheel nuts after a couple of 100 miles to make sure they're tight. To keep up to date with Project GTi, you can sign up to our Facebook group, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, or check out our blog on blog.MicksGarage.com. Thanks for watching.